Hey there guys, this is Malorian, and this will be a Paintisode. I haven't done one of these in a while, and we're back at them. And that'll be for two reasons. The number one reason why we're doing this is because Jank Tank is kind of dead. I was wondering if we should stop it for a while because we weren't really getting the views, weren't really getting the feedback that we were hoping for. You know, people are just more after something that's a little bit more serious and competitive, and it wasn't really what the show was designed at. So it was kind of, didn't really take off the way we wanted. Plus, Tin Man Excel is a little bit tough because he's still in the stage where he's growing his meta there, his club, and at the same time, he still, you know, life is getting in the way. Things could be a lot better for Tin Man XL. You know, I wish him all the best. It's really unfortunate, and yeah, fingers crossed that things work out for him. So otherwise, for right now, Jank Tank is off. I was wondering if I should try and find like another co-host, maybe someone a little tremendous, but I don't know, like, it's also the thing about where do you want to dedicate that time every week, and that thing starts getting at you too. Whereas these Paintisodes, like I'm going to do right here, I can throw these whenever I want. You know, if I feel like painting, let's do it. Now, talking about that, the good part of why these are coming back too is that I've been doing this Tale of War Machine painters. It's a thing where like, hey, come out, try and paint up. Last season rather, I should say, was 110 points, trying to do it over a 12-month period. This time, just to make the numbers easier to remember, it's 100 points, and it's tougher because a lot of my stuff is starting to get painted. I can't do a storm wall and be like, yeah, 19 points in the bank, but I definitely have over 100 points of even just Signar to paint. So that's going to be starting in September. So you're probably wondering, like, why am I painting today? It's because I want to paint. I've been pushing it off. I have all this stuff. It's like, oh, I want to paint this, I want to paint this. Got all my, like, bases ready, my arcs and things, and priming. It's all ready to go. But it's like, oh, I really just want to paint something. Plus, I wanted to have one of these here where I can explain what happened to Jank Tank and just have some fun with it. So, as these go on, I'll be talking about, as the tale starts, what I'm trying to paint for this month. The goal is to try and do, of course, 10 points per month, and you get 2 months off for, like, you know, if you want to take December off for Christmas, go ahead, right? Or if you have some models that are going to take extra long, sure, take an extra month on it. So, but I'm going to try and do 10 points at least every single month, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, as a spoiler, the ones I'm really hoping I can do first are the Blazers. I've been talking about the Tempest Blazers for a while. It's about time I got them done. What am I going to be working on today? Is Buccaneer number 4. And that's one of the things where it's a fast thing, it's fairly easy, it's not really with the Signar thing, but it's for something I really want to get painted because I love this list. For those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, this is for a Magnus 1 tier where, first of all, you get to have all your upkeeps out right away, and your halberdiers get advanced move, I think it is. But anyway, the biggest thing is that with Magnus' 1's feat, you basically have 6 focus to go on 6 buccaneers. They run up, you pop feet, and they run up again. So you basically have 6 buccaneers that can jam 24 inches, and it's pretty crazy fun. And opponents, you don't see it coming, it's like, what the hell? You are straight across the board, and I'm being jammed on turn 1. So it's pretty nuts, pretty crazy. And yeah, I already have 3 buccaneers painted. I still have to paint this one here. Something else I feel like I should be talking about is the yellow glasses. I've had a few questions about these. These are older glasses that I used in university, and the main reason I want to wear them is because they don't fall off. My regular glasses, the kids have bashed my face and playing and stuff, and if I'm looking down or if I'm working on something, they fall off my face and they're really frustrating. These, I can paint, I can do whatever I want, and they're going to stay on. So there's all the kind of like, you know, usual stuff to try and get out of the way. That's your kind of like small print things I want to get done before the show. I got the sambuca back, so that's kind of nice. And I think before anything, let's have a drink for Jank Tank. It was fun, might come back, but for now, it's gone. And also for Tin Man. all of our best to him, and hoping that, you know, he finds what he needs to be happy. So, like I said, we're going to be working on this buccaneer. And the paint scheme's pretty easy, right? Once you get on that first layer of green over everything, and I've already done like the red for the little eye slot as well. Oh, I should also say too, I'm not doing this live for two reasons. One, YouTube has changed the way that you do live shows, and I looked into it as talking about how you need to like download this thing and do all this stuff. I don't care to do all that. I get better picture when I do it off my camera here, so why not just do it with this and then everybody's happy. I could get more light on myself, but then also just get more glare as well. So we'll just leave it like this. I get plenty of light from my painting, but if you're wondering why I'm not making this live, first of all, I didn't usually have time to answer questions. I wanted to kind of more focus, and it seemed like whenever people posted comments while I did these live, that is more kind of like breaking it up. I'd be in the middle of talking about something and then I'd have to stop. So I think this will be for the better overall. Why do those look like they're different metals? I was pretty sure I just did these one. Yeah, that was all this one. I am still dealing with the fact that they did change the darker silver that I use. It used to be the ones from Games Workshop. This one, it used to be Bolt Gun. Now this is called Iron Breaker, which is supposed to be exactly the same. It is not exactly the same. It is significantly brighter than the old paint was. But whatever. It's not really a big deal on my mercenary models where I only use the one type of silver. But on the Signar models where I use 2 shades of silver, and then all of a sudden there's just no contrast when there's supposed to be, yeah, that's a little bit annoying. Just a little bit. But yeah, something else I could talk about with this here is I have a big event coming up. Now, I had a little chat with the wife. I was maybe pushing to go to too many events abroad, and so I need to kind of watch it. So probably the only one that I can do that's out of Edmonton, my local city here, will be this one event I'm going to, which is called... Now I gotta remember what it's called. Oh, come on, man. Attack X. There you go. It's in Kamloops in British Columbia, Canada, of course. And it should be pretty interesting. It's actually a 3-day event. The first day isn't really anything for me. They have an invitational, and being that I'm not a BC guy, I'm not part of that. And they also have, for the people who did make it the invitational, like this poker game. So apparently, like, you get like a hand, is how it works. And then as you do things in your games, you get other cards, and you try and make like the best hand or something. I don't know. It's a little bit... janky should be right up my alley, but it's just not anything I'm really looking forward to. The biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is the Saturday. And so, by the way, since that is kind of like that, the first day, I'm going to be driving over there. It's like a 8.5-hour drive, and so I'll be making that on Friday with my brother. Should be a pretty fun drive through the mountains and all that stuff. And on this, we might get a few like pickup games and stuff like that. But on this Saturday, that's where the Masters event starts. And I guess they're going to have like, 60 plus people, so that's going to be great. I'm really hoping to do well at that one. What am I going to be taking? I am going to be taking to that my Cane 2 Swarm for sure, and then some version of probably Double Stormwall. That's the problem, is that I'm really at a loss what to take for my other list. I am really, really comfortable with my Cane 2 list and how it performs in most matchups. The two ones that are giving me trouble were Bradigus and Body of Soul, which I saw a lot of, and they just didn't really work out for my list. But now, because of the errata, Body and Soul won't really be much of a thing anymore. And Bradigus, I still can't figure out an answer to Bradigus. So what I'm probably better off doing is putting in something like that Double Storm Wall, or I'm also thinking about doing a Haley 3 Cloud Wall to make my opponent say like, "Ooh, shooting might be completely worthless," And if they don't take any shooting and I drop my swarm list, yeah, that is good times, because I just run all over those armies that can't do anything back to me. So that would be swell. So we'll see about that. Like I said, the Kane 2 list is pretty much down in stone. The one thing that is open in it is that before I had Gorman in there. And I don't feel... I mean, Gorman was in there to lock down a heavy. I didn't really need him for the cloud or anything else like that. I didn't really need him for the defense drop. So really, he'd be pointless in my list now. So I really do plan on dropping Gorman. That's going to give me 2 points. If Ace was out, that'd be awesome, and I could be adding Ace into my list. But Ace is not out, so I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what else to do with those 2 points. There's lots and lots of options. You know, one thing that could be nice is just taking Anastasia. The extra round of attacks and things are nice, not really critical, but the biggest part is getting +1 to go first. So that would be nice, you know. Getting the extra movements and attacks can be nice too, but probably, I mean, it's not like one of the lists where you are full of, you know, let's say Stormblades or Forge Guard or something like that, where you're going to be getting a lot of work out of it. So with that in mind, just try to remember. Okay, so I was not supposed to paint that silver. Oops. Oh well. It's Buccaneer number 4. No one's really looking. But anyway, yeah, I got to figure out what to do with those 2 points. Before, when I thought I was going to be dealing with Body and Soul, I was going to be trying to figure out a way to get Epic Iris into the list. So that's 2 points on the way. It's just a question again about where I get the other point. So we'll have to kind of play around with that. The other option too is I could be using those points to try and make my Sentinel that I have into something a little bit stronger, a little bit more beef. But I don't know if I really like it. I mean, my Sentinel has been doing okay for me. Does add some more shooting to my list. Of course, the Shield Guard is amazing. And for the most part, I don't need to do anything with it. First turn, I allocate 1 focus so it can run. And it just does its own thing for the rest of the game. So, yeah, I got to play with that. Like I said, the second list could be Haley 3 double Stormwall. Could also be like a Haley 3 mixed bag that is mainly based around a Cloud Wall. Odds are it's going to be something with Haley 3. I'm really liking her. You know, I already had my rant about the errata and how people should shut the hell up because she's still awesome. And, yeah, you know, I could really take almost anything with her and have a fun time. So either way, there's that. So I'll be going to that Masters event, hopefully making it through. I believe it's 4 games the first day. So we'll see how I do and if I make it to the second day. Otherwise, there's an evening event, which is a doubles event. Now, I thought this was awesome. I've been looking forward to do a doubles event with my brother for a while. You know, he's all in on Crix. I'm all in on Signar. There's always this big competition between us. And this is a perfect time for us to be working together. And the types of combinations we can come up with is pretty freaking fantastic. Of course, one of Crix's main problems is being shot up. You know what makes that hard? When there's a cloud wall. You know, I could take double trenchers and just say like, nope, you can't see a damn thing. Now, one of the odd things though with this is that first of all, each player only gets 25 points. So, okay, I kind of expected 30, or 35 rather, but 25, that makes sense. It goes together to about a 50, a little bit more because of Bella Group. But the real kicker is that the time allotted for your death clock is only 45 minutes. So the time you'd normally have for a 35-point game, you're getting for a 50-point game plus a bit with 2 players. And of course, what you get going on with multiple players is if you're just playing it yourself, you know what you're going to do, and when it's your turn, you just go and do it. But when it's partners and doubles, well, there's like, okay, should we activate this first? What's the plan? Are we doing assassination here? Are we trying to do this? And so it really is a lot of problems. Now, to me, one of the things that screamed to me is let's do this and let's go for clock. You know, our opponents, we already know, are going to be in a hard way if we just go and attack their clock. I think we're going to win like every game on death clock, and it could be awesome. The problem with that is that my brother, that's seriously not his style. He hates the idea of people winning and losing by death clock. He fully understands the idea of why it's in the game, but it doesn't mean he likes it, right? It always seems like it's a cheap win or loss whenever it's by death clock, whereas to me, it's another resource, and it's a real part of the game. So with that difference, we're probably going to try something else. One of the things I was thinking about doing when it was going to be the go and jam and just try and win on time, and maybe scenario as well, right? Because while you're jamming, you might as well be pushing for scenario, is that I thought my Buccaneers, and that's another reason why I'm trying to paint these guys, because maybe it'll still happen, is that for 25 points, I can get my Magnus 1, I can get my 6 Buccaneers, and we know exactly why, and then I also get Kayazi Assassins with Underboss, plus I can get Kayazi Eliminators. So how that really works then is I don't know what he would take, Gaspy 3, something like that, maybe Gorshade 3, but the whole idea is that I am going to be the first jammer. You know, with my feet, I'll get up there, slow them down, and then after that, that's when the Kayazi hit. And I mean, Kayazi, they can always pop their mini feet and go for assassinations as well. Now remember, there will be 2 casters, and it's also an interesting thing too, where it's not like if you kill one caster, it's game over. You got to kill them both. But with all that jam going on, I think it's one we could either win either by scenario or by death clock. So I was kind of hoping for that, but again, he doesn't really like that idea. Another thing we're looking into is because he also plays Menoth, we might do something like Krios and Kane 2. You know, Kane 2 can kill a lot of stuff. And if everything's knocked down, oh boy, Kane 2 just has a real party killing whatever the hell he wants. Plus, of course, you know, in his 25 points, he could be getting double Reckoners and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, not a whole bunch, but, you know, it's 25 points. But either way, I mean, like, Krios himself, popping feet with his Reckoners and whatever else he takes, you know, Vassals and Choir and stuff, he could probably kill a caster, depending what we're up against. And then if Kane kills the other caster, well, there you go. You know, we could win the game in 5 minutes, no problem. So we'll have to kind of see. We're still going to be playing with this. One of the biggest problems, though, is that whereas he likes to bring all of his models with him, I just like bringing exactly what my lists are. I don't typically bring extra models, mainly it's because I like having all my models here, and then I take them out to pack what I want. I always found that whenever you pack all your models into a big case, that's just when they start to break, right? That's where it's like, oh, damn, this one here had too much pressure on it, or it's been shaking in here for forever, so it just broke. And I don't want my stuff to break, you know? I'm lazy. I don't want to have to repaint chipped models and all that stuff. Let's see, and then the top is silver as well. So anyway, we'll have to see what happens there. Sunday is going to be the second day of Masters. So I believe it's the top 8 that go forward to that, although I'm not 100% sure. I might be mixing that up with Rocky Mountain Cup. But either way, again, really hoping that I'll be in that to go to the second day. If not, the other event they have on the second day is a 3-person team event. So with that, it's now back up to your full thing, 50 points, 2 lists, blah, blah, blah. It's more like a WTC thing where whoever wins at least 2 out of 3 games, they win and go forward. And then all the rest is just tie breaks. That would be interesting. I'm not really sure who we would get for our third. It could even just be a thing, too, that if we're just super exhausted, we did the Masters the first day, neither of us make it, did the doubles, stayed up late, got drunk, right? It could just be that the second day, or the Sunday, rather, we just say, you know what, let's just relax, watch a couple of the last games of Masters, have some nice brunch, and get out of here. So we might do that too, but I really would like to do the team event. When you're doing one of these things, or you're traveling pretty much 9 hours for an event, and you're paying all the money, and I'll be losing a day of work too, you really want to get a lot from it. I have some friends over there that I haven't seen in a long time. On the Friday, I'd love to have some games against them. I'm looking for tons of games on the Saturday, at least 7, 4 Masters, 3 doubles, maybe a casual one thrown there too, and, just go for it. Try and get as many as possible. So, that's that. Again, probably whatever I take to Masters, that's what I'm going to be taking to the team event as well. More out of laziness than anything else. We're not going to be spending time working out team tactics or anything like that. It's really going to be like, oh, okay, grab your stuff, let's do this. Everybody try and win your stuff. I wouldn't even want to be getting too much into like the pairings. I just want to like, okay, brother, you go, you figure out all the pairings, you're the captain, just send someone my way. And I mean, I didn't care. In the team event, the interesting thing about that is that I'm totally accepting of the idea that I might be the fall guy, right? I'm the guy that has the jam where it's like, I don't care what you took, I'm just going to run your face and clog your rivers my dead. That is my strategy, so I don't care who you are. So if they want to give me the bad matchup, it typically isn't that super bad, right? Even Bradigus, all right, I have no way to beat you. Let's see how long you can roll dice and see if you clock out before you beat me. So either way, it'll be fun. Working on a team with my brother and whoever else. There'll be some other guys there that I'm good friends with. They're just, they're not going to be part of our carpool because they're from other cities, and they'll be taking, the carpools from there. But yeah, it should be a ton of fun. And of course, it should be assumed I'll be bringing my camera. I'll be making battle reports for everything. And yeah, that's going to be kind of a monster. Coming back and be like, whew, time to relax. Oh, wait, no. I have to make like a dozen battle reports. So what I had been doing is breaking up the battle reports so that even though there might be 3 games in a single event, that I do them all separate videos, just because it seems like people like watching that more. Instead of seeing like triple header, blah, 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 they're like just seeing like, oh no, this one here is Kane 2 versus whoever. So I don't know, we'll look at that. I probably will take the lazy route out for that many reports and just make like, this one is the Masters. Or maybe even like Masters Day 1. Hopefully there's a Masters Day 2. Of course, looking ahead, you can always look at that and then know how I did on Day 1. If there is a Day 2, alright, he made it. I believe some big names will be there as always. Jeff Everett will be there. I think he's kind of more running from what I hear, so maybe I don't need to compete against him. Tom Guan, I heard, is going to be there again. So, I mean, it's a pretty big event. For a while, I was actually a little bit jealous because I have my Blood and Gears tournament that I was putting together. It's an official Masters. I was like, hurrah, this is awesome. And now these guys are also going to be an official Masters. So whereas I was hoping to be the only Masters in, say, like Western Canada, well, now I'm sharing with these guys and their event is going to be bigger. So I was like, that sucks, But, it's all for the better, right? We're all really a team, and having Masters at different times in different provinces really isn't a problem. Like, really, really isn't a problem. So, any thoughts I had of jealousy are really kind of just childish, to be totally honest. We'll all do better if we're supporting each other. Whew. So far it's going pretty well. Silver work is going pretty fast. I've already done the back, the legs, torso, and it's more now doing the top here. Brush getting a little bit frayed. Also, I'm finding that my paint is settling pretty quickly here. Maybe it's getting a little bit old. But it is coming along well. I see I'm 25 minutes into this. I think I'm still on track to get this model painted in roughly an hour. For those who don't remember my old Paintisodes, that's what I always go for, is to try and do these in an hour. Of course, that's affected by how many breaks I take to when I was reading questions, or of course whenever I want to drink some of my delicious sambuca. Alright, his front is done now. Time more for the arms. These buccaneers, sorry, a little bit of spit there. These buccaneers, people will give them no credit. You know, they're only 3 points. They're pretty damn crappy. They only have a POW 10. They're gaff. You know, when you had a jack that's only POW 10, it's a little bit weak. You know, usually when you get hit by a jack, you're like, okay, my infantry is dead. When you're taking even like a free strike from a freebooter, not freebooter, a buccaneer, it's like, no, 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 don't take your model off. I gotta roll this because I might actually fail. And I have in the past. And it's hilarious. You know, you got some like armor 15 thing, which isn't extreme at all. You know, it's even probably a little bit more average. And, you know, if I roll a 5 or less on 3 dice, which happens, I don't kill you on a free strike with a jack. And it's like, okay, whatever. But, you know, whenever I need to, they have their little nets that have knockdown. The biggest thing why they're awesome for jamming is the fact that they have reach. You know, again, POW 10 isn't scary, but it's something that you can't ignore either. I mean, you're forcing me to roll it, but you don't want to kind of like lose an entire unit. And so you have to hack away at these guys. And the thing about them is, I mean, like, they're still jacks. They got a good number of boxes. And so you can go ahead and you can, you know, hit them with, you know, weapon masters and stuff. You're probably not getting a charge because I'm right up in your grill. And people are always surprised when they've hit me like, you know, 3-4 times. I've taken some damage and I'm still there. You know, I got all my, I might not have all my systems, but I'm still operational and I'm still blocking them. And that's all they need to do is get up there and get in the way. A funny list I was actually dojoing today and thinking that would be kind of hilarious is a Saren Tier 4 list. What you'd be getting from the list is you'd be getting +1 to go first. You would also be getting extra deployment, so your deployment would be an extra 2 inches out. And then you also get a free Nephilim. And what we have in the list is, of course, we have Saren, because you need to. Plus, she's awesome. I also have an Archangel. I have a Angelius. I have a Nerif. And then I have, I believe it was 4 Bloodseers. Past that as well, I have a Hellion and Sorcerer. Get a little bit hot down here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I mean, one of the things that this list can do is Operation Burninate. So what happens with this here is basically you should get, with the +1 to go first, you should be getting first turn. You had the extra deployment. Your guys are running and charging for free. So you're really getting pretty far up there the first turn. The second turn, thanks again to the Hellion, all your guys are charging for free. You're allowed to do the animus of other friendly beasts in your control area. So what you do then is you do the new upgraded errated Archangel one and just light all their infantry on fire. Like all of them. You know, maybe not all, but I mean, when you got 80 of these guys charging in, you can take the odd free strike, and then 2 inches around from all these guys, you're lighting them all on fire. That's going to be quite a problem. And then, of course, when you have these 4 guys in the way, of course, Saren's going to feat. That's going to block things getting to your Archangel. The Archangel, when it went up, you're probably starting to do some attrition to the heavies on the other side. And, of course, you got the Angelius and the Nerif that can choose some things, too. But yeah, you start doing that attrition. They can't really do too much except for a roll for fire and burn. And then the following turn, Archangel's starting to charge in, starting to kill the heavies. The Bloodseers now can either keep on going around lighting things on fire, or you could be going around and repulsing, because they also can do the Angelius one. So at this point here, it's like, oh, do we want to dominate this zone? Repulse, repulse, repulse. All right, we dominate this one. And otherwise, you probably also want to get in there just to get in the way, because even though you shot a heavy, and now you're probably coming in and killing like 2 heavies between the Archangel and the Angelius, there's still probably be stuff that can kill you back. So you almost are using those Bloodseers as jammers. So it's just hilarious too. You can have these jammers go in and then light things on fire. You know, it's awesome. If I could do that with my Buccaneers, where they just like charge in and light all your guys on fire, that would be awesome. But maybe there'll be a character Buccaneer. They'll come out later. But yeah, so that's the list. I shared it with a Legion friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, I could see how it could have some potential. I think the biggest problem, of course, is that no one really wants to buy 4 Bloodseers. It is an interesting list. It has a little bit of potential, but it turns out the money doesn't grow on trees, and you kind of have to keep that in consideration. Alright, that's all touched up. Oh, I can fix this here too. It's always nice when I start doing touch-ups, because it means I'm getting closer to the end. Still have this huge gaff to do, but that doesn't take too long. Most of it is all just silver, 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 a little bit of brown, done. And I got the nets and all that stuff too, but that's also fairly fast. In fact, when I do the white nets now. So I've done one arm for all the silver. Here, when I instead of talk about it, I'll show. So we're getting there. This arm is all done. I got the silver in the front, the silver in the back, the top and stuff. Still have to do the silver on this arm, but I think before I do, you know what? No, I probably want to do the silver first. I was going to do the white of the net first, but I think the way that things come together, I want to do the silver first. Plus, then I'm done with the gaff. So I'll do the arm, do the gaff, and then I'll be pretty much good with silver, except for when I want to do some touch-ups. Doot. But yeah, so that should be interesting. Like I was saying, I am just loving this Haley 3. It always seems that I can do whatever I want with her, because she just makes everything better. Now, it's not like before the errata where she literally did make everything better, be it mercenary or whatever. Now it's only the friendly faction. But man, even the mercenary stuff, you know, they're even better when you take in the account that the enemy is -2 defense, so it's easier for them to hit. So it's just everything is being turned on just an extra little bit, getting some synergy there for everything. And one of the next stage things that I want to try is actually going to be bringing out the commandos again. I posted this list up onto the Signar forum, but what I was kind of thinking is, first of all, like I did my video on crutches, okay, how about I take away my Alexia and Pressganger crutch? How would I design the army then? And one of the things I also realized is that I have a real problem with my Haley 3, whereas normally it's never an issue for me at all. With Haley 3, I do find my own clock starts getting pretty low. She has a lot of options, there's a lot more things to think about. Could also just be that I'm new with her, but time is a factor. Now, one of the ways I can speed up my time is A, not make attacks, pure jam, but if we're taking out the press gangers, we're probably not going that route. So how can we make an offensive list take the least amount of time possible? And the answer that I came up with is to take out the roll to damage. And what that means is the commandos. If I have a front line of 20 commandos, they will be effectively mat 9, automatically doing a point of damage, And it's just like, yeah, roll the hit from Mat 9, do a damage, kill off infantry like crazy. And defense-wise, of course, they have stealth, so it's really causing a problem for shooting. And as well, they're defense 15, and I can revive them. And, they also have guns if I ever need it. They also have grenades if I ever need it. They're just an interesting unit that has been on my shelf for a little while, and it's probably time to take them off. To try them out again. The only thing that has me reserved about it is really just the fact that they're not painted. One of my units of commandos is primed. The other one is just bare-ass silver. And I have been trying to make a push to be playing more with painted models, ergo painting up some buccaneers. And, with that in mind, it's like, I really want to do this whole thing, like take away the crutch, playing other models, but at the same time, the more weird and crazy the models are, the higher the odds are I haven't gone around to painting them yet. So if you guys do see battle reports coming up and there is unpainted commandos in them, please show me some mercy. Like I said, most people don't even own commandos. You probably don't, some of you probably didn't even know that Signar had commandos. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Especially if they do well, I would say they definitely would be making it into this season of the War Machine painters, and then that'd be great. Then all of a sudden going forward, they'd always be painted, ready to go. I do like them as well with my Striker 2, but with that as well, I always have, what's the other stuff I have lined up? I have another unit of Sword Knights I want to paint. I have another unit of Precursor Knights I want to paint. I also have another unit of my Gun Mages I want to paint. So really, like, the problem with this year, with this tail, is that it's going to be almost all infantry. Last tail, I had Colossals and Jacks to do, and those are awesome, plus solos, because you really get a lot of points painted very quickly. In the same time that it takes me to paint up a unit of Sword Knights, I could probably paint 2 Centurions. And one cost me 6 points, the other one's 18 points. So it's like, well, But in this one here, I think for the last tail, I was really pushing to be a leader of the group. Instead of painting 110 points, I painted over 300. So yeah, it was a lot of points painted, circle and all these other things done. This one here, I'm going to kind of like pressure myself to do, like I said, do the Blazers. They're a unit I like to use more often. One of the reasons why I don't use them more often is because they're not painted. I hate painting horses and mounted units, but you know what? Hey, a whole month to paint 5 models? Come on, that's not really that hard. And again, that's where these Paintisodes will be coming in. And that reminds me, I never mentioned what you're supposed to be doing in these Paintisodes. The whole idea of these Paintisodes is that not only am I painting stuff, hopefully you guys are painting stuff too. Hopefully while you're looking at this, you're not just looking at my yellow glasses and me wiping off the sweat all the time. Hopefully you have your models out, you're painting or gluing or whatever, doing some hobby of your own. And one of the things I always love seeing after, or at least reading, is what you guys have been working on, right? I love it when people say like, oh, during this I painted my whatevers, my Rabagor. Or I love reading that, or even seeing it, right? If you guys want to send me pictures of what you guys painted, not even just like during my show, if you even just want to share that with me, right? I always love seeing that stuff. That's at Malorian99 at hotmail.com, Love to see that stuff. It gives me inspiration, lets me see what people are working on, some ideas of colors and all this stuff. And especially, too, it's always interesting to know, like, if it was done during my Paintisode, I was like, you know what? That's something this show did. That's something I can say that, you know what? was this show worth doing it? I didn't get many comments, I didn't get many views, but look, this guy painted up this, and that's awesome. So that's always a nice little thing to make it feel a little bit more worth it. Oh man, I don't know what's going on. I have a bad feeling my kids are upstairs, just like cranking up the heat. It's kind of weird right now. We were moving in kind of like more into fall, but every single time I get out of work, it's like plus 30. So I'm almost at that point where I'm like welcoming death, welcoming winter. Like, come on, man, this has got to get colder. But one of the other things I was going to be talking about too is Reliant is now out. That's a jack that I definitely have plans for using. I have lists already made for him in my Darius tier and also running with Cray. So really want to paint him up. Unfortunately, he doesn't fit into the budget right now, so I'm going to have to put him off for a little while. Hopefully not too long. We'll just kind of see how things go. Maybe I'll win one at Attack X, who knows. But yeah, he's an interesting jack because before, the only 8-point jack that we had was just Hammersmith. So if you ever had that odd points of like, oh man, I got 8 points, I would love to put another heavy or something, it was either the Hammersmith or nothing. Or you go down and take like an Ironclad and have 1 point for something else. But now this is another cheaper jack that's fairly solid. You know, he has a pretty good weapon, causes crit stationary, has his gun, his electrical AoE that stays in place, and it's pretty interesting. So again, with my Darius tier, when I have like 5 Centurions and then before a Hammersmith, now I can take that Hammersmith out, I can add in the Reliant, and then I got a gun in that list. And as well, feel a little bit better about this jack. He's also faster as well, so yeah, he should be able to do some pretty good things. Like him as well with my Cray list, because normally my Cray list is fairly shooty, except for like that one combat jack. And if I make him my combat jack, first of all, when he goes in with, you know, full tilt and you know, I could pop the feet to make it further and all these other things. You know, not only could he probably kill most targets doing that alone, but as well, if I wanted to, go for that crit stationary, and then even though he's engaged in combat, my other stuff can shoot it now. Because, okay, great, you're +4 defense because you're engaged. That makes you defense 9? No problem, I'll shoot that. So, it's almost like a backup, where like if the assassination fails with melee, meh, just shoot him down, no problems. So now we have all the silver done and all the black done, just for like the little tubes and stuff around him, and the little, you know, thing at the top there to show where the smoke's coming out. Now I really just have to do like the brown on the gaff. I don't know why these would be like decorated up and have like leather and stuff, and not just be like, it's a weapon for a jack, just make it all metal and one metal spear. But, you know, you gotta have some little style. Plus it's a good way to get some other colors on these jacks too. That's sometimes one of the problems you have when painting these jacks, is that especially if they're one of the ones that's like, it's not a character jack, it's just like one of the bog standard ones, there can be not very many details to paint, and it can look very, very, very bland. So having just a few things like this, like on the mule, where there's like the barrel on the gun, so you're adding in some brown for the wood there, stuff like that. Little stuff like that just makes it look a lot nicer. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not just a simple I'm all silver or whatever your paint scheme is. There's more going on with this model. It's like the same thing back for those of you guys who know 40K, is whenever you saw someone who's playing Black Templars, like, they might be really good painters, but the paint scheme for those things is black and white. It's a very simple paint scheme, and even if you try doing it very, very well, it's still black and white. And, you know, you'd have these amazing painters, and people would just, like, look over like, oh, yeah, there was, like, an easy little fast paint job. It's like, no, man. You know, this paint job took me, like, years. Well, it doesn't look like it. Just because unless you hold the model up like this, you don't see those, like, subtle black shades and stuff. Whereas this is like, yeah, there's a brown gaff right there. There's something going on. This isn't just super boring. And then bam, I pop feet and they're jamming you in the face. Trying to not screw this up. It's usually at this point here that I start getting into a rant about something, get talking, and then screw up my paint job. So luckily, it looks like now the brown's all done, and I didn't screw anything up. Did see some green I had to touch up. Ugh. Where are you, dark green? How are we doing for time? We're 45 minutes in, so I really would need to be on the end stages, and that's really where I am. I have to... What do I have left? Anything else? I have to do the net and then the wash. That's really it. So we really are getting to the end of this. Nice to have these models that take an hour. You know, it's not bad when you have a model that takes more time. I'm more of a speed painter. I like just having stuff done and on the table. You know what I said where you look at guys like, oh yeah, they just took the easy way? That would be me. I'd be the guy that do black Templar. It'd be like, yeah, black and white, I'm all done. That's pretty much how a lot of my jacks are. One color and another color highlight, good enough for me. A little bit of red for the eyes, black for the tubes. Look, I got detail. I got more than 3 colors. Oh, that's right. And then there's like little claws at the end of these nets. Another unit, I was actually wondering if I should revisit that I have owned. Like, it was one of my first units I got, and I immediately regretted it and pretty much never played them after, is actually the, I believe they're called the Devil Dogs, right? Sam, they're the ones that are the mercenary unit. They have like little nets they can throw to knock you down. And then they got these axes as well, where they have thrash or trash or whatever it's called, where if you're knocked down, they get an extra dice of damage. So clearly they either want like a buccaneer to knock you down first, which is probably why Sam actually has you know, a jack marshal so that she can be running a buccaneer to boost a hit. But, you know, you can have some of the guys throw nets, knock things down. The other guys can be then hitting in melee, doing some pretty good damage. But it's such a kind of an awkward unit. And they're kind of like also like Crow's Cutthroats, where they seem like they could do some really cool things. But then when you see their Mat and Rat, you're like, pass. You know, I'll rather go for Nist Hunters or something like that that can be a little bit more dependable without needing to get overly janky. I think that's part of model selection too, is a lot of times we just go for the things that are easy, right? Oh, this thing will actually take some work and some... no. I'll take the gun mages, please. I'll just sit at the back and go pew, 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 pew. I'll be aiming for Mat 9 and cast Deadeye, and, you know, that'll be way easier. Now, one of the reasons why I'm kind of visiting them again is that, first of all, I have improved as a player, so the idea of where I need to arrange like a knockdown or something like that first is now an easier thing to do. Plus I'm playing more of the casters that do affect that. So let's say either Gordon with his feet, that after I feed on you, your defense is dropped, or maybe with Ashlyn. I don't even know if they work for Ashlyn. I'd have to actually double check that. But there are these other models like that where they can take advantage of lower defense so that they can do what they need. And then all of a sudden these guys, they have respectable guns, respectable damage when things are knocked down, and they can get a lot of work done. Yay, the net's white. I actually, while I'm just like BSing, I still haven't got to the main reason why I'm re-looking at them, but I might as well pull out the card. I know it's going to be near the top because I always put the ones I use at the bottom. let's see. Let's see what's at the top here. The Devil Dogs didn't make the top card. It was actually Stannis Brocker, the model I bought and never used. But here's Captain Sam and the Devil Dogs. You know, she's pretty good. She's Mat 7 and Rat 6. But the other guys are Mat 6, Rat 4. 4. So trying to land these nets and things, it's pretty tough. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, their guns are POW 14. So if something is knocked down, so it's easier for them to hit, those POW 14s can do some amazing work. Now, let's see, what do they work for? Yeah, they work for Signar, so that means these guys, yeah, they'll be in the Highborn list. They don't work for Kador or Crix, so they won't be actually 4-star. Yeah, so I could do these guys with Ashlyn. You know, also if I'm rolling 4 dice, they can do a lot. Those poor POW 14s can be pretty awesome. But the main reason why I was looking at these guys again is the point cost. Normally, I gravitate towards models where I get 10 models for only 6 points. I love those. Press Gangers, Sword Knights, stuff like that. These guys are 7 points. So I'm paying only 1 more point. They're weird. There's not many models, units like that where they're 7 points. Normally they're 8 or they're 9 or they're 10 or 6. And then these guys are the difference. They're the ones that actually are 7. So you pay 1 more point. But it's like, you know, compared to Press Gangers and stuff like that, these guys have some little interesting tools to them without like the POW 14s and stuff like that. It could be interesting. Again, I could take them even, say, like with Haley, Haley 3, and I could be using the Temporal Flux to basically make them Rat 6. If I was to put up onto them Murdoch, I could then use Rangers, so they're effectively Rat 8. And it seems like I'm doing a lot of stuff to compound to get there, but 10 POW 14 guns at Rat 8 is pretty freaking awesome. For only 7 points. So all of a sudden, something like that, it's like, ooh, you know, that's something I could really see using and being actually pretty interesting, right? I mean, one of the problems I have with my gun mages is that they're only POW 10s. And if you don't have Deadeye or a good way to get those Brutals, they're only POW 10s. And even when you get Brutals, they're only effectively POW 13.5s. Well, these here will be POW 14s all the time. Now, I believe the range is not the best either. What was it on their guns? They are a range. Well, she has a hand cannon. She doesn't count. Range 4. So they're low range. But again, if Murdoch is with them, they get to assault. So all of a sudden, they get to charge their speed +3, +4, and all of a sudden this stuff works. So, you know, it's one of those things where if there's so many steps in it, they're like, okay, if I did this and this and this, maybe it's not worth it, maybe it's too complicated, but it seems like there's potential there. One of the other issues too is that, I mean, when I bought them, I only bought the box of 6. I'm guessing they still are only a box of 6. I can't see them repackaging them. But clearly, if I wanted to make that investment and make them a thing and have on Murdoch and doing all these things based around it, I would definitely want to get the full 10 models. So that means that either I'd have to find some blisters to bring it up to the 10, or I would need to go and buy a whole nother box. I bet I could find a box of 6 of them for pretty cheap. Nobody uses these guys. Like I said, I think I used them way back in actually a Drake McBain tier, because in that one there, you get they're actually a point cheaper as well. So all of a sudden they are 6 points for the 10, and so that's actually pretty neat. But yeah, since then, I have never seen anyone use them ever. not in person, not in battle report. Hey, if you're watching this and you've ever seen them used, I would love to hear about it. Post down below. You know, hey, I faced them. First of all, high five across the internet. And then as well, I'd be interested in like what caster are they being used with? How were they being used? What were their role? You know, they're at that point there too where you could just not give them the extra stuff and just use them as jam. Jam that can knock down and just be a pain, right? If you're there and knocking things down, sure, like if it's a beast, they can just stand back up and start hitting, but that means that they can't really like shift over to make the best use of their attacks. If they want to trample or something, they're going to have to go and shake and all that stuff. So, you know, it's like, you know, for this extra point, they get a little bit interesting. So, either way, Buccaneer number 4 is done. I just have to do my wash. I am at 55 minutes, so this was a success. So as I put the wash on here and really finish things up, yeah, there we go. Like I said, these are going to start coming up. They're not going to be anything regular. Probably one a week, but as far as like when and what time, I'm not going to make any promises because it's really going to be dependent on how my schedule goes and how my painting is going too, right? If I desperately need to get something painted, hey, you know, these Paintisodes are actually good motivation for me because if I'm doing a video, I'm painting at the same time and I'm getting stuff done. So that will be something that will be coming up here. Oh, that white wasn't dry yet. I got a little bit too greedy, too speedy. Oh no, what have I done? Now I'm like spreading around gray instead. I should have known. I should have done that white earlier so it could dry before I did the wash. So there's a hobby tip for you. You don't usually get much of those here because, you know, I'm not exactly the best painter. But hey, you know, through my own stupidity, I can pass on what not to do. Don't do what that idiot Malorian does, which is rush to putting on the wash before all your colors dry, because then you're just like throwing your model into swamp water. Oh god, that's horrendous. I don't know if it's going to come across too well, but in here, yeah, it is seriously like swamp water. It is like all gray, and so where it's supposed to be more, you know, the watered down black getting in there and into the recesses of the net, it's more just spreading it around. So I'm going to try dabbing it. I'm going to try a new technique. Trying to dab it into the various parts. So I'm not so much spreading around that mucky swamp water as opposed to just leaving a little bit of that darker paint. Here's another tactical or like a hobby tip. When you do sometimes do these things, you get like bubbles. I do this. Pops the bubbles, and then, because when it dries with the bubble, it looks really dumb. So I believe I got the wash everywhere. I fixed all of the muck points where there's this like disgusting gray. And yeah, now I'll leave that till tomorrow, put on the flocking, and we are done a Buccaneer at 58 minutes. So hurrah, there you go. Post down below what you were painting on and if you've ever faced the Devil Dogs. Otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.